Do you work all day but still feel like you're falling behind, progress very slowly and are not seeing any results? Today we'll find a solution to that with 10 life-changing lessons from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. We start with lesson number 1, the power of atomic habits. But firstly, what are atomic habits? Let's take it from the dictionary. Atomic is something small, very small, but it could also be something very powerful, as we see in the atomic bomb. And a habit is a routine, something you do regularly, almost without thinking. Clear believes that to get remarkable results you don't have to do massive actions. He believes in small consistent improvements that compound over time. I speak from my experience when I say that I agree with him. You will progress more through small consistent actions than through massive one-time actions. Lesson number 2. Habits shape your identity. Clear shares with us the idea that what you do automatically means who you are. What you do shapes who you are currently and are becoming in the future. Once a man who's addicted to smoking went out with his friends at a bar. They offered him a cigarette and he replied, "No, thank you, I'm trying to quit smoking." Do you think he'll ever manage to quit? As opposed to if he said, "No thanks, I don't smoke." Like that, he is disassociating with the habit. In other words, he's saying that he's not a smoker. Lesson number 3. Systems over goals. What does he mean? Aren't goals good? Well, yes, but let me explain. You see, everyone has goals, from the unemployed to the businessman. But the difference between those people is their systems. Let me explain. Goals are achievements, landmarks, a point to reach. Goals are the what. Systems are the way you get there, what you need to do to move forward. Systems are the how to get to your goal.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I just want to tell you to subscribe if you're enjoying the content. All right, back to the video.
Lesson number 5. 1% better versus 1% worse. This is a diagram in the book. It shows us that if we get 1% better every day, we'll be 37 times better than what we currently are. If we get 1% worse for a year, we'll go down to almost 0. Lesson number 6. Now this is my favorite. It's the graph of latent potential. This graph explains how we get results. You see, people expect results in a linear fashion, but they rarely come like that, they compound. At first you're not going to see the results you want, and he calls that the valley of disappointment. It's when you don't get the results you think you deserve. Forming habits. I like the analogy that results instead of the normal idea that habits are formed over a period of time. James tells us that performing a habit is like a vote. As in each time you do a habit, you are confirming that you are that type of person. So the more you do that action, the closer you are to becoming the person who does that action. Lesson number 8. Changing your identity. This ties into the previous lesson. First you must decide who you want to be. What does that person do? Then, you must prove it to yourself by doing action that solidify that belief. You're not going to become that person in an instant, but if you consistently do actions of that person, eventually you'll become like him. Take an athlete, for example. If you train once, you're just a person who exercised. If you train every day, then you are an athlete. Lesson number 9. Make it obvious. This basically means increase and reduce the friction for your habits. Friction is basically how difficult it is to do, how convenient it is. I want to start eating more fruit. So with that in mind, instead of leaving fruit in the basket, I can put an apple on my desk or a banana somewhere else where I'll see it a lot. Lesson number 10. Replace bad habits, don't remove them. It's a better strategy to replace the bad habits than to remove them entirely. You see, the brain loves routine, it makes its job easier. So when you outright quit a habit, it will realize and have withdrawal effects because it's so used to something being done at that time. This can be avoided if you replace a habit with another one, a more healthy habit.